Okay, the next question is really lovely. And like I always say, it's not really a question, it's more of a commentary, but I'd like to see what comes up for me. And I'd like you to do the same thing. What comes up from a deeper place within that wellspring of mind, mind with a capital M, that deeper knowing, the deeper intelligence beyond the things we tell ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves, the societal beliefs and ideas. This is a relationship comment. So she says, I have a difficult time with how much he works and being understanding through the many demands on his time. And our communication style throughout the day is not my favorite. He writes and texts, and I like phone calls. He also has difficulty being vulnerable with me and lectures me instead of examining his own vulnerability. Aside from all that, I'm blessed. We're newly back together. So it's that difficult beginning stage. This is a couple who broke up, and she's still grappling with how she sees things versus how he sees things. Here's what I mean. Let me see what bubbles up beyond my personal thinking about this. What bubbles up for me is that they live in a different world. And that's not a bad thing. That's just a human thing. You know, one thing I know beyond conditioning, I know from my own experience, though I did hear it first from not only Sydney Banks, but other people, but I found it within my own experience as well, that I have my view, my worldview, and anybody I come in contact with has their worldview. And it's different. Doesn't mean that's a bad thing. We've all had different experiences in life, and we have come to view life through those experiences. Even though, ultimately the goal, if you will, is to see life neutrally, not imbued by our past, not imbued by societal norms and ideas, but coming from a deeper common sense, a deeper wisdom, deeper intelligence. Not intellectual, intelligence, a knowing. Spiritual intelligence, actually. So he has his way of communicating with the written word. And this is going to be kind of personal, right? Because my personal self likes that better as well. I prefer responding to emails and texts than to be on a phone call. One is of hearing issues. I don't hear on a phone as well as most people do, even with hearing devices and such. But if I can read, in fact, if I watch television, it has to be captioned for me to enjoy it and get the most out of it. So I love captioning. I love the written word. I don't think this is his issue. Maybe he has limited time. As she said, that he has many demands on his time. I don't know if that's, his children or only his work that is very demanding. Maybe he has a job that puts him in a position of being on call. I don't know that, but I can tell you that I heard judgment in this comment, right? Anybody else who's listening hear judgment? That she has an issue with his style of communication. It sounds like she could bend a bit with that. But then there's this issue she finds of him lecturing and not showing his underbelly, so to speak, his vulnerable side, because that's just so attractive to most women, and that's personal thinking too, but I think it's attractive to all humans when the other person can just be humble and vulnerable and say, hey, I'm a human and I'm not perfect and I've got these quirks. Doesn't that draw you in to want to know more about this person? So, yeah, the only thing wrong with any relationship is negative thinking, which judgment is in the realm of negative thinking. So that's what I would caution people about, to be aware of when you're being judgmental, not just of the other person, but of yourself too, because that judgment is, it gets in the way. It just gets in the way of having a nice time together. So what was the other part? That she wants him to be more vulnerable and less preachy and less teacherly. Yeah, boy, that's a turnoff, isn't it? If somebody's trying to tell you how you should be, that's judgment on their part, right? They're judging that how you are is not the way you should be. And learn this lesson. Yeah, I get that is a turnoff. But there's a way she can explain both things to him. She can explain to him that why she prefers telephone communication. You can hear people's intonation that way. You can tell if they're angry or stressed. That's, the upside of phone conversation. As long as you don't get put off by their tone, as long as you question and say, gee, you're sounding like you're upset with me. Am I reading this right? Is that correct? You're upset with me right now. Something like that. It doesn't come back as more judgment. It's neutral. Want to keep neutrality, because that's where you can hear the juice of what the other person's saying. You really want to take in what the other person is saying without judgment, without teaching them how they could do it better. And she could bring that up too, because it depends, the state of mind. If you're in a nice state of mind and you feel compassion for the other person, you're not judging them for judging you, it's really easy then to just say, hey, I don't know if you realize, but it's a turnoff to me when you try to teach me how to behave. And then you maybe have a good laugh about it. So I wonder what came up for you about this comment and my answer. Please comment below. I'd love to hear from you. I don't know why it's not stopping. Here we go.